TRC EDC back again with another knife video. Since we couldn't get the giveaway going tonight, I figured we'd go ahead and record another knife video, so at least we got something to watch. So this is a first impressions video of this knife, which is a custom, semi-custom version of the Emerson Sheepdog. This is actually just a modified, essentially, Emerson Sheepdog. And this is the Bowie point version. So these scales, you can probably tell right off the bat, are not the normal Emerson scales. This knife did not come with the normal Emerson scales. This came with these scales. I bought this secondhand from someone. Actually got it in trade. And it has some interesting things on it. So let's take a look at what it has. So this right here on the scales is micarta. So that's micarta right there. And this is titanium. And same thing on the other side. We got the titanium and micarta. Got a nice pocket clip there. Obviously this has seen some action, so it's a little bit scuffed up. I don't mind. I didn't buy an Emerson to sit on the shelf. And this is the blade. Nice DLC Bowie style blade. It's got a modified thumb disc, little Spartan helmet there. You can take a look at that. And you can see the grind on this. It's got, you know, a saber style grind. This Bowie blade with a saber style grind, flat grind. Although it's not a true flat grind, because even though it looks like a flat grind, this is actually, it's not. There's no bevel here. This is a chisel grind. So this side is not sharpened. This side is sharpened. And this side is not. So I know that Emerson does this. He has a thing on his website explaining why he does this. Part of it is, I think, for utility in the field, it's easier to sharpen one side than sharpen both sides. Whoop, just hit the camera stand. I think the other reason is that it's just, he finds that it's just as effective. And you can go check his website for the reasoning. I think the blade's pretty attractive. It's got the Emerson wave right there, which is meant to, you know, catch on your pocket as you draw it out. So as you draw it out, it catches on your pocket and locks the blade into place. One thing, I'll just give a couple of initial thoughts on this. The chisel grind is interesting. I've never had it on a knife. I'm going to do some testing on that before I really give my first impressions on that, because it's the first time I have experience with it. The thumb disc, you know, it's a custom thumb disc. I actually do like the thumb disc as a means of deployment on this, although it's not in the best location here in order to do it, and I'm sure the normal thumb disc might be a little bit higher up, but it's still not in the best location for me, especially when you're used to doing thumb studs. So that's one criticism I have. Obviously, I'm not going to criticize the scales because those are not original to the knife, but one thing I will criticize is the detent on this is kind of weak. If you watch, I can get this to fail pretty easily. Now, it doesn't really fail when you use the wave to open it and catches on the pocket. It'll deploy every time, so that's not that big of a deal. But when you're using the flipper, you know, that is a deal, as Nick Shabazz would say. So that's one issue. Another issue is, and I know Emerson's sort of famous for this, there is a fair amount of lock stick. I mean, I have to pull pretty hard. When this thing engages hard, the lock stick becomes apparent, right? You can hear that. So when it doesn't engage hard, it's easy. You can very easily toggle the liner lock. You can see it's a liner lock. However, go ahead and flick it out hard, and it is extremely hard to disengage. Just listen to this. I have to put a tremendous amount of pressure on that. Do that one more time. So you can really hear that lock stick. So that's not the most pleasant thing, and it means that, you know, you have to reposition the knife in your hand in order to close it, so that's not great. I will say on these custom scales, I do like the feel of this black micarta, and the titanium is pretty good here, so I'm pretty happy with that. Overall, the shape of the handle is fairly ergonomic. It's not perfect. I feel like the cutout here gives you the impression that this is where your finger should go, but then this side's longer. Sorry, I'll put that in the camera. This side's longer, and so it creates a little bit of a hot spot there where your finger goes, and that's not that pleasant. I wish that was recessed a little bit more, a little bit more even. Otherwise, it's pretty good ergonomically. My other big criticism is just the amount of space in between here and the blade. I know that's partially by design because it's tactical, and they want to have a nice guard here for stabbing motions, but it's just something for EDC that's not as pleasant as it could otherwise be. Other than that, the only other big criticism I would have is this does stick out of the pocket quite a bit when you do have it in the pocket. So for EDC purposes, you have a lot of knife showing. It's actually about right here in the pocket. But you know, if you're in the military or whatever, it may not be as big of a deal. I know this is, you know, it's meant to be a tactical knife more than an EDC, but people do EDC it, so something to be aware of. As well as the flipper tab is also pretty big, so just be aware of that as well. Other than that, I actually have enjoyed, as much as I have several criticisms for it, I've enjoyed carrying it so far. I've carried it maybe 4 or 5 times so far, and I have enjoyed carrying it. And the action on it is really, it's drop shut smooth. So that's excellent. I mean, it's really drop shut. Boom. You know, so that's great. Obviously, you know, you get used to the lock stick, and that's pretty much it. So that's a first look at my first impressions of this sheepdog, this Emerson Sheepdog. And thank you guys for watching so much. Again, I'll try to have that giveaway video to you tomorrow. You know, even if I can't get the comment picker to work, I will try to use something else to pick the winners. But thank you again for watching, and have a great night.